I read 5 indie books this week, and one of them gets a 5 out of 5. Which one should you be reading? Let's talk some indies. Howdy, howdy, I'm American Texan, and I love comic books, specifically reading comic books. I collect a little bit, but we're here to talk about the stories, the art, the things we love about the books we read, and maybe the things we didn't care about the books we just unfortunately read. We'll let other channels talk about the drama and all the stupid things creators say. We're focused here on the stories and what's inside the books. I'm taking a look at the releases from February 4th, and just the indies. I talk about the big 2 in a separate video, and I've got 5 books. Let's go over to the table and talk about them, but first, don't forget we are doing a giveaway. We passed 100 subscribers, so I'm putting together a care package, including some indie books, some books that I recommend, including Geiger Volume 1 Trade. This is the original volume from 2021. Some folks have told me that their LCS doesn't have this anymore, so this will be free. And if we get to 200 subscribers by the end of the month, I will add on, if I can get it here, got stuff sticking to it. We got Junkyard Joe Deluxe Hardcover Edition, still shrink wrapped. This thing is an absolute beast. So if you want to get in on that giveaway on each video, subscribe and comment free 100 to get into that giveaway. And again, the Junkyard Joe goes if we get to 200 subscribers by the end of February. All right, let's go to the table and let's talk some indies. All right, so we've got 5 indie books that I read this week, 4 of them that released this week. And unfortunately, there was one that was just a pretty big miss for me. But let's go with the one that I keep hearing about in the comments. You guys said that you were excited for this one. I didn't realize that the writer and illustrator were on a few other projects that were pretty popular. But this is Dork, which is not actually short for Dork Orc like I thought. This is actually short for Dwarf Orc or Dwarven Orc. And it even says right there, half Dork, half Orc, all Dork. So this is by Brett Beam and Jean-Francois Beaulieu. I hope I said that right. And this is actually a pretty interesting little fantasy. So first of all, right at the front, whoa, hello, I almost lost my camera there. Ha. New to YouTube, sir? Here we go. So first off, we got the map up front, and I am a sucker for maps up front. Give me a book with a map up front, I'm probably going to read it. I'm probably going to put it at the top of my pile. So I'm really excited that we had this. Not only that, if I zoom in here, you can see it's got some pretty nice little locations here. You've got the dwarves up front, the Dwarven Thunder Caves, Hammerfall, Heaven's Spleen. I mean, that just sounds like you've got all the Dwarven stuff on the left. Dragon's Hump, the Hills of Comeuppance. So that's funny. And then you've got the Dark Lands, I'm assuming, on the right. So you've got Orktown, Bitterbeard Canyon, Loch Basilisk, the Pits of Purgatory. I love that map at the front. So anyways, if you nerd out like me, let me know in the comments. Let me know I'm not the only one. So this issue is called Dork Days Ahead, and it's really good fantasy comic art. Love the illustrations here, and I did not expect this. We get a little bit of a magical companion weapon. It's actually a shield. So a little bit of like Blood and Thunder, if you read that, or a little bit of the trope of the talking gun or the talking sword. But yeah, this was charming. This was nice. There was some pretty good little action in here. Actually, a little bit of violence, so it's not all ages friendly, as you can see. But right there, hello. But yeah, it was interesting. A nice little setup here, and basically the story is there's a land of light dwarves and dark orcs, I guess, and there's a prophecy that there's going to be one in the world that comes from both lands. And you find out that, well, this dork is a half dwarf, half orc. And he goes to an inn to try to get some answers. And of course, no one wants to talk to him. You get this big battle breakout at the inn. It was a lot of fun, very interesting, a very intriguing, unique story. It uses some tropes, the prophecy trope, the talking sword trope. In this case, again, it's a shield. But overall, though, it was still a fun story, and I am all in on this. So I'm really enjoying this one. Dork gets a big recommend from me. Unfortunately, what's not getting a recommend is this Supernatural Valentine's Day special. This was a miss. And unfortunately, it was like, I thought it was okay, but then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, this isn't for me. So we go into this town, and apparently all relationships are getting broken up, and it becomes the fault of some god intrusion, or what do you call that? Interruption, some god lowercase g, shenanigans, basically. And so the boys have to figure out, what's causing this. And, I don't know, Valentine's Day special, everyone's just breaking up. You got a bunch of non-heteronormative relationships in here. And then you get I don't know, just I don't want to say it's woke because I think that's an overreaction, but it's not traditional storytelling. And so because of that, and the art was fine. It was just a lot of and then storytelling. The boys, I mean, they were kind of there. There was just a lot of happenstance of things happening around them and them responding rather than them just uncovering things. So I don't know. It just kind of felt like everything was happening around them and they weren't actually driving the story forward. So this one, unfortunately, was a big not from me. Not enjoying this. I was hoping this would bring me back into Supernatural, and I don't know. We'll see. Next issue is probably going to be make or break. I really am staying on with this long because I really want to like it, but I don't know. It just isn't doing it for me. It's letting me down. Not a letdown though. We've got the Autumn Kingdom, the Wraithbound Queen. Now this is a sleeper hit, and hopefully my video here will help get this out to more people. Definitely go check out the trade of the Autumn Kingdom. This takes place right after Volume 1. You know, I hate to say don't read this till you read Volume 1. I guess you could jump into this, but if you read Volume 1 first, you'll really, really enjoy it, I think, and I hope, and you'll really enjoy this much more. The way that I like to describe the Autumn Kingdom, it's kind of like another retake on Narnia. There's two daughters that have a father who's an author. They go on a retreat to a cabin in the woods, and of course the parents disappear, and the girls have to go find their parents, and then they find out that maybe all the fantasy things that their father wrote about was not made up. It was not fiction, and they discover the fantasy world, kind of like Narnia, right? They go in, they discover a fantasy world. They get a sword that's made out of stone. And the cool thing about the sword is that it's heavy because it's made out of stone. But when there are enemies nearby, it gets lighter. So that's pretty cool because like they're carrying around this huge sword and they don't want to carry it around. They get relieved when it gets lighter, but then they're like, oh, but that means danger's approaching because the sword is becoming lighter. I'm really enjoying it. The art, this is, again, Colin Bunn, and the art is by Christopher Mitten there. The art's really good, really solid on that. A little bit not... I think it could be a little bit more colorful, but again, the dreariness of it, I think still works for the storytelling. And the daughters, you know, they're going through some of their internal conflicts that I think young girls typically go through, and they have to overcome it and find courage. Really, really great storytelling in this. Beautiful action. I mean, look at this set piece here. And it's a lot of fun. So the first volume was 4 issues, and it ends on a pretty big cliffhanger. So I'm glad we're picking it back up with that. But Autumn Kingdom, if you haven't read the trade, read the trade. And it's an indie trade. If you can find it, I'm sure it's going to be less than $15. And going into the new volume, just picks right up. Really, really enjoying this one. This one's a sleeper and needs more people to be aware of it. Last of the new releases I read this week was Savage Sword of Conan, and this one was fantastic. So this one had stories from Chris. Oh, we got the credits page here at the front here. So the main Conan story is by Chris Real and Gabriel Rodriguez. And then the prose little chapter in the middle is Bran Mak Morn, The Precipice. And that is from Fabian Nicisa. And then the last one is El Borak, Curse of the Golden Calf, Patrick Zurcher, and art by Mirko Kolak. This was a great read. I really enjoyed this Conan story. Got to be careful flipping through here, but the first half of the book is good. Or say for YouTube, I should say. You got the beautiful art here in black and white, and you'll notice here, if you look at the spine, you can see like over half the story takes place in the dark, so to speak. So that was really interesting. I thought that was a whole separate story. But yeah, the art is fantastic. It's absolutely gorgeous, just like Savage Sword of Conan pretty much always is. Conan's a beast in here. This time it's a little bit of that trope or that storyline of where he comes across a group of people and they become fast friends, or not fast friends, but they kind of figure out that they want to go to places in a common goal, so to speak. So Conan's trying to save this woman's daughters or find this woman's daughters, and he comes across this troop who's trying to defeat a sorceress. Of course, in typical Conan fashion, the sorceress is naked. So I got to stop before we get to that part. But it was really good. It was really fun, especially when they get down into the cavern here. Really cool art there. Every character is interesting. You don't get to know too many of the different characters, but you've got a warrior. You've actually got a female warrior who can kind of hold her own. Then you got the sorcerer here, Sabak, I think, or Sakan. And so it was really great action, a lot of fun. And then it ends really well. Just a great one-off story. Now the prose here, this is a 3-page prose story. And this is again by Fabian Nicizia. This is Branmac Morn in the Precipice. And I'm not familiar with this character, Branmac Morn, but apparently he takes place, he's like a Pict that actually lives during the Roman times. So this is a Pict who comes across a Roman, and he tries to intercept the message that the Roman is carrying, and they kind of get into a battle. Then they have to kind of get in a situation where they have to help each other out. Then you find out what the message is, and it kind of makes you think at the end of it. So I really, really enjoyed that. Normally, I say normally, about half the time, I just kind of go cross-eyed with the prose because I'm in comic mode, not reading mode, but it was really good. I really enjoyed it. The last story here is The Curse of the Golden Calf. This is El Borak. Now, I like El Borak. I think he's a cool dude. Again, another modern story from Howard, modern character, excuse me. The art is real simple in this one, but it's still really good. I really like the thick lining of it, and it's just a different style. It's a pretty good little art style to close the book on. However, the story is a little bit more inside of the Islamic mythology, so to speak, and that kind of took me out of it a little bit, just a little bit. But because you're in Conan's world, and when they insert a Muslim religion, it kind of is like, well, are we in the real world, or are we in Conan's world? Because if the Muslim religion is a thing here, well, now we have all the Abrahamic religions, and then it becomes a little bit too like real world, so to speak. And I want to stay in this fantasy world where none of that's not even a thing I have to think about. So, other than that, it was still fine. It was an okay story here. Just interesting art style. I know it's probably not for everyone, but overall, the last part I didn't really care for. But I still recommend it for the Conan story, the chapter prose story. I don't know what else to call it other than the prose story. The final one was it was an interesting closeout, but again, just didn't really work for me. And then the last book I read, this actually came out a couple weeks ago. This was just on my stack. I still need to catch up on. Speed Racer, Tales from the Road, A Wrench in Plans. And wow, this one resonated with me deeply. 3 stories. The first story is about Pops becoming a father for the first time. And already right there, if you know Speed Racer, he's lost some kids or lost a kid. So you see him tinkering, you see him burying, you see him driving. So we're kind of like going back in time. And you see the delivery of the kids. And this page I love. She's like, can you get there any faster, honey? And he's like, yeah, we'll get you there, and call me Pops. So I thought that was really cute. And then there's some situations in the delivery room, of course, hits you in the feels. But then you see Pops kind of go through this process of being a father and sharing his hobby and the danger of it and the joy of it with his kids. Really, really enjoyed that one. There was a critique, I think, that can hold some water, that the mom just kind of disappears. But this is Dad's story, so it didn't bother me that much. Then you got this story here, Dante Furno in The Price of Victory. This one's by Derek Acosta and art by Travis Heimel. This first story here, I should have said, the writer was Richard Ashley Hamilton and the artist was Pablo Andres. Now, the Price of Victory by Derek Acosta, this was a nice little short story just to show you how villainous a villain can be, or how evil or careless a villain can be. Basically makes a $4 million bet, and the way he gets the money is less than savory. Let's just say that. So that was a good story. And then this last story really hits you too. If you like a good underdog story, or a good story of someone who just won't quit, I think this will resonate with a lot of entrepreneurs out there that have been through the pits and everything and have to dig their way out. You follow the kid who Speed Racer took his spot on the racing team. The name escapes me right now, but you see him kind of work hard, and even though he's working hard, he's still finishing last, and then he gets replaced, but he refuses to quit, and so he keeps practicing. And so that was a really nice little story there, very encouraging, very inspiring. So that's Speed Racer. This is the one-shot, Tales from the Road, Wrench in Plans. So these are the books that I read this week. Top 3 of the week, 100%. It's going to be hard to choose. I'm going to say The Autumn Kingdom honorable, because I just know a lot of people are not reading that, but man, check out The Autumn Kingdom. Just check out volume 1 if you have not read it. And then I'm going to say Dork number 3, Savage Sword of Conan. No, I'm going to say Savage Sword number 3, Dork number 2, and I'm going to say Speed Racer. Even though it didn't come out this week, it is what I've been reading this week. I'm going to say Speed Racer, Tales from the Road, A Wrench in Plans, number 1. So here's my top 3/top 4. And let me know in the comments what you guys think. So there you have it. I definitely recommend, if you are not reading all the Speed Racer stuff coming from Mad Cave, get in on it while the getting's good. Starting with this one, A Wrench in Plans, Tales from the Road. Absolute blast to read. I don't know too much about all the characters. I know I watched this show when I was young, but I don't remember all the characters, but they do a good job of introducing you to the world and what's happening, and just gorgeous art to go along with it. And if you're not already, check out the Autumn Kingdom, the first volume, or if you can find the first 4 issues, especially if you have young daughters. You know, they're going to love this. Maybe they'll even read it with you. I think it's appropriate, probably 10 or above. And then Supernatural is a huge pass. Dork and Savage Sword of Conan, definitely check those out. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you giving me your time and attention, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, comment free 100 for that giveaway. Adios.